In the past, I have played many 2D Mario games. Personally, Mario Bros. 3 from the Nintendo Entertainment System and Super Mario World from the Super Nintendo are my favorite 2D Mario platformers. The ones that came out for the Wii and the Wii U were serviceable and got the job done, but were extremely forgettable. When I saw Nintendo unveil Super Mario Bros. Wonder for the Nintendo Switch, I was immediately enamored with the visuals and elements that were presented. As soon as it came out, I picked it up and checked it out. But is it as good as it seems? Let's find out. Hi everyone, my name is Jeremy and this is my non-spoiler review for Super Mario Bros. Wonder for the Nintendo Switch. The game was developed and published by Nintendo. It is important to indicate that the game has online features that I personally did not explore, meaning that I won't be commenting on that aspect of the game in this review. So what's the story of Super Mario Bros. Wonder? This game takes place in the Flower Kingdom, a neighbor kingdom to the classic Mushroom Kingdom. There, they have something very special known as Wonder Seeds that can activate the Wonder Power. One day, Mario and company are visiting the kingdom and its king, and Bowser raids the party, accessing the Wonder Power and fusing with the castle of the Flower Kingdom. Now he is wreaking havoc around the land, and it's up to you to stop him. In contrast to previous 2D Mario games, this one has some good effort put behind story presentation. The story continues to develop as you progress through the world, instead of getting a cutscene at the beginning and nothing until the end, like in previous games. Usually the story exposition comes in the form of dialogue and some short cutscenes that you see in the overworld. So let's talk about the visuals of this game. This game has some very cartoony, colorful visuals with lots of details, colors, and textures. The animations for actions and on each character are very detailed. And characters are animated and look almost as if they were a cartoon or a comic book character, particularly in the way they run and in their facial expressions. This game features a lot of visual effects that look very trippy, but they are beautiful to look at. In terms of performance, I played the game docked and it ran pretty consistently at 60 FPS. If there are any dips at all, it's not noticeable during gameplay. So let's talk about the music in this game, and I have to say, this game is very musical, not just because every stage has a different song, but because there are a lot of musical elements integrated into the stages. I would describe the music in this game as subtle and whimsical. For the most part, you will hear new tracks throughout the entire game, but you will find some classic tracks that have made a comeback and that are remixed specifically for this game, and they sound incredible.
So you can get over there. Smoking plants, huh?
Let's talk about the gameplay. Mario Wonder is a 2.5 platformer, meaning that not only do you run from left to right until you finish the stage, there are elements of the stages that are in the background and the foreground, making the gameplay elements more complex. The objective of the game is to play through the stages from beginning to end, collecting Wonder Seeds. And you have to collect the Wonder Seeds to reach the castle of each world, and there you will collect the Royal Seeds, which will unlock the final castle. There you will face off against Bowser and save the Flower Kingdom. In terms of movement, this game has a lot of movement options. You can run, jump, wall jump, and many other movements that there's an entire manual inside the game explaining how to execute them. In terms of characters, this game features a lot of variety. You have Mario, Luigi, Daisy, Peach, Toad, Toadette, the Yoshis, and Nabbit. In terms of how the characters feel, they have weight and they have a little bit of forward momentum, so you have to be conscious about that when you're moving around. In terms of the power-ups, which is always an element in Super Mario Bros. Games, you will find here very classic power-ups like the mushroom and the fire flower, but you will find new power-ups which they have already shown in the trailers for the game, like the elephant form, which is super fun to use and it's very distinct. It's important to note that you can hold up to 2 power-ups in reserve and that you can use them at any time you want. So one of the distinguishing features in the gameplay of this particular Super Mario Bros. Game is the Wonder Flower mechanic, which is unexpected and fun. Once the power is activated, a lot of very zany and wacky gameplay elements get integrated into the stage. It usually lasts until you find the Wonder Seed, and you can go backwards or forward during that Wonder Flower mechanic. And you will find different elements or items, so you have to explore part of the stage activating that power and without the power activated to be able to collect the collectibles in this game. In terms of collectibles, this game features Wonder Seeds, Flower Coins, which there are 3 per stage, and you have to get the golden flag in every single stage. In the case of the Wonder Seeds, they can be used to open new stages. Not all stages require them, but some do. And you could say that the stages in this game are divided into 2 types of stages. The first one I would call regular stages, which is any normal stage that you get where you have to go from beginning to end, get the collectibles, and finish the stage to get the Wonder Seed. And I'm including the castles there too. And there are the mini stages, which come in different forms and they present different challenges to a player. Some of them are called break time, others are bash challenges, and so on and so forth. The important thing is that these stages are extremely short and they usually only have one objective. And this is very good gameplay wise because it breaks the monotony of going from stage to stage. These little stages are palate cleansers between the regular stages, and they are super fun. Another distinguishing mechanic of this Super Mario Bros. Game is the badge mechanic. As you progress through the game, you will get badges, and you can have one equipped at a time per stage. These badges add different type of skills to your characters, and I have to say that they really change up the gameplay. There's a lot of incentive to getting them because some of these badges can really make hard stages more simpler, and they really add a layer of complexity to the game, which previous 2D Mario games did not have. I played through the entire game in co-op with my wife, and there are some elements that it's important for you to note when you're playing as 2 players. Like for example, if one player dies, that character becomes a ghost, and the other player has 5 seconds to touch the ghost so they can come back without losing a life. If the ghost timer runs out, the player dies and loses a life. If both players dies, you lose 2 lives. In other words, lives are consumed by individual players. Additionally, there's no player collision. Characters pass by each other and they don't bounce off each other. And obviously, it's important to note that co-op is extremely fun. I guess some additional comments that I can make in regards to the level design of this game is that levels are short and fun to play through. Worlds are very distinct and variable as they always are in 2D Mario games, and the game is constantly throwing small little twists to keep the gameplay fun and engaging. Last but not least, there is more freedom than in previous games on what order you can play the stages. Some stages have to be played in order, but there are a lot of sections in this game where it's open and you can choose among basically 4 to 5 stages, and you can play them in any order that you want. In terms of the difficulty, each stage has a set number of stars that tells you the difficulty level. And some stages in this game can be very challenging, especially if you are playing single player and trying to collect all of the collectibles. There isn't exactly an easy mode in this game, but like they explained during the trailers of this game, if you choose to play as one of the Yoshis or Nabbit, they are considered the game's easy mode because they can't die unless they fall in a pit. Super Mario Bros. Wonder takes around 9 to 10 hours to finish without all the collectibles. With the collectibles, you are looking at double that amount of time. So let's talk about the cons and the pros of this game. I'm gonna start with the cons because they are so minuscule, because this game is so good. The first con that I would have to mention is that this game gives you the option of mapping the controllers in a different way. And it gives you a different set of options. And this is good because the Nintendo Switch has a lot of third-party Joy-Cons that the buttons are distributed differently. The only problem that I have with this, and this is the con that I want to point out, is that if you change the control mapping, it applies to both players. It doesn't apply to one of the players. And that brought a little bit of problems with me, but it's something very, very small. The second thing that I would have to criticize of this game is that it can be very visually overwhelming and it can be hard to keep track of things, especially if you're playing as two players. Like I said during the beginning of this review, this game is extremely colorful and it has a lot of details and textures. So when you're playing, there are a lot of visual elements that are moving around at the same time, and sometimes keeping track of your character can be a little bit hard, especially if you are playing co-op. So let's talk about the pros of this game, and I think the first thing that I would have to mention is the visuals. The visual art of this game is breathtaking, it's beautiful, and it's extremely memorable, charming, and fills the game with a lot of personality, which was one of my main complaints with the Wii and the Wii U 2D Mario games. They just felt so generic, and this game has corrected that flaw. The second thing I would have to point out as a pro is the badge mechanic. I really hope that moving forward, 2D Mario games keep that mechanic in play, because the badge mechanic really adds different layers to the gameplay and it gives the player more agency on how they want to play. So in conclusion, Mario Wonder is without a doubt one of the best games to have come out this year. The stylized, vibrantly colorful and whimsical visuals, the catchy tunes, and the incredibly fun gameplay represent a step up from previous 2D Mario games. All of these elements paint a breathtaking piece of art that will captivate players' hearts and that needs to be experienced by Mario fans and video game consumers of all ages. For this reason, I highly recommend Super Mario Bros. Wonder for the Nintendo Switch. So that's gonna be it for my non-spoiler review. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!
Love that sound.
Hi everyone, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to keep up to date with our content.